Oh, it's Jinder's gear reviews.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Jinder here, reviewing gear, recommending stuff, both cheap and dear. This is the second in a series of reviews which I'm going to be doing over the coming months, just talking about the gear that I use and just giving you a frank and honest about different guitars, mics, interfaces, everything from basses, leads, stands, all that kind of stuff. I spend so much of my life sort of combing through YouTube looking for different reviews of guitars and amps and pickups and all this kind of stuff. And, I just want to basically fill the gaps and put some stuff out there, review-wise that isn't there at the moment and that might be the kind of thing that I'd like to refer to if I didn't own the gear already. So today we are looking at my 2005 Custom Shop Gibson Hummingbird 12 string. Look at all of those bridge pins. Now this is a tremendous guitar. I love it to bits. I use this a great deal for recording. It's been on the last couple of records I've made, and I bought this from my friend John at the end of 2016, 17, something like that. I'd been doing a tour with my friend Billy Bragg, and I had a little bit of money for once in my life at the end of the tour. Came back, and basically some years before my friend John had got hold of this guitar and had sent me some pictures and said, look what I've got. And I said, I've always wanted it. I've always played cheap 12 strings and I love the sound of a 12 string, but I use it as a, fairly utility instrument, really. It's used for overdubbing in the studio and for writing and, the kind of thing that I bring out on tour and use on one or two songs. So it's not something that I'd ever spent sort of proper money on before. And I said, several years before I bought it to my friend John, I said, if you ever want to sell that guitar, please give me first refusal, because I love it. I'd heard him playing it and seen some pictures, and I just wanted to get my hands on it. And thankfully at the time, the stars aligned, and it was just sort of just kind of handy that I had some funds at the time to buy the guitar. So I did. So just a quick overview. It's got a like a kind of iced tea sunburst kind of thing going on here. It's a Sitka spruce top, solid Honduran mahogany back and sides, solid Honduran mahogany neck with some really nice, you can't really see it very well, but it's got some nice kind of flame to the mahogany. It's difficult to pick it up unless it's in person, really, but it's a stunning collection of timber, and on the back of the headstock you'll find 12-hole mini Rotomatics from Grover. Lovely, very positive machine heads. As I said in my review of my SJ200 6-string, these machine heads do tend to come in for a little bit of stick, more the full-size ones than the small ones, for being heavy. Some people don't like them or want to replace them with Waverleys or whatever. In my experience, I've had great service from my Rotomatics over the years, and they're the toughest machine head out there. They might not have the pinpoint precision of like a Waverley Golden Age style tuner, but they're just great machine heads. I rate them and I rely on them. So from my point of view, they might be slightly heavy, but who cares at the end of the day. So, in action, it sounds like a 12 string. It's got a great kind of thing going on. It's got that chime, but with a huge depth. It always kind of sounds like a sort of a well or a cave full of sound, kind of. right in the middle. It's not in the mid-range. This is the odd way that this guitar behaves. That kind of cavernous thing. It isn't in the mid-range. It isn't really in any specific location on the sonic spectrum. It just has this depth to it that's almost a natural reverb, you know, kind of how you hear those great old kind of, not the pre-war Martins that are quite dry, but the sort of like the reissues of the D45 that like Neil Young and David Crosby played. Those late 60s D45s have that kind of immense natural kind of reverb to the sound which comes from rosewood. But this is mahogany, which is supposed to be a kind of a more of a dry kind of wood. This guitar just kind of has a mind of its own, and it's a wonderful thing. You might recognize it. I played it on my song Diving Board on my album The Silver Age. It does what 12 strings are for. It's like a strummy kind of thing. I mean, you can play the whole sort of, you know, the whole Roger McGuinn style thing, but, you know, not really on an acoustic, you know. Really nice for sort of arpeggiated sort of stuff. I'm so unused to playing guitars with such very, very light octave strings that I often find that my big old bare hands kind of get in there and pull some of the strings sharp. Something that I do love to use with this guitar is this particular pickup, which is a G7 Newporter pickup, not pickup, capo, sorry, because not pickup, goodness me, well, I have just picked it up. Now, for 12 strings, this pickup is a revolutionary thing. It was designed by my friend Nick Campling, who is an absolute engineering genius. He of G7 capos. I've used G7 for forever. They're just brilliant capos. And this has, as you can see, if I get it a little bit closer to the camera, it's got a stepped pad. And of course, with the octave strings being arranged in such a pattern where the thin ones are on the sort of upper section and the thick ones are sort of further down. The problem is that most capos will pull the thick, the bass octave strings sharp, but this stepped pad design doesn't do that, and it's, as you can hear, you know, I've just put a capo on the 3rd fret on a 12-string guitar, and it's in tune. I would never, you know, for many, many years, I didn't take a 12-string on tour with me because they required so much retuning whenever I used the capo. And I use capos for all sorts of things. You know, people will say, oh, you know, capos are like playing guitar for, playing guitar with training wheels on or whatever. But that is total BS. You know, a lot of the greatest guitarists, I'm not myself, not one of them. I'm a functional guitarist, you know, in service to the song more than anything else. But you know, I've watched John Squire using a capo. I've seen Johnny Marr using a capo. I've seen Bert Jansch using a capo. I've so many players I've seen using a capo, and there is no shame in using a capo whatsoever. I've used them for many, many years, and you know, this capo is just perfect for a 12-string. You know, you just move it up, tighten it, and proof positive that it's possible to capo a 12-string. I think this cost me about 25 quid, something like that, maybe even less than that, and it's basically meant that I can take this beautiful guitar out on the road. It has a K and K pure Western Mini pickup, as they were called when it was fitted. They're now called the Pure Mini, but it's a 12-string variant of that. Rosewood fingerboard and bridge, bone, nut and saddle, obviously. Just a great guitar. It's a custom shop guitar that's been sort of made in limited quantities over the years. This one's a 2005. They do tend to make a few every year. If you are a 12-string player and you get the chance to get your hands on one of these, at least audition it, try it out, because I've played hundreds of 12 strings, you know, everything from, you know, sort of very old Martin 12 strings, you know, more modern stuff, you know, your Husson Daltons and your Taylors and everything. The Taylor 555 is a great 12 string, but just a little bit modern and a bit kind of thin on the ground soul wise for me. I like things that have got a bit more sort of you know, a bit more sort of old world depth to them, and this certainly has that. So yeah, do give it a try if you get the chance to get your hands on one. You will not regret it, and even if you don't like it, at least you've experienced it. But it's a guitar that sort of changed my life really as a player. So, you know, thank you very much to my friend John for keeping it back for me. And please, if you like the reviews that I've been doing, please do like and subscribe to my channel, because I will be posting these you know, over the coming months fairly regularly. And just as a reference, the microphone I've been using today, and the microphone I use for all of these reviews, is an SE Gemini 2 large diaphragm condenser. It's a valve microphone. It doesn't have the standard Chinese valves that they come with. This has a 1980s military spec Philips valves, which I sourced from the wonderful people at Watford Valves as a recommended upgrade. But it's a wonderful microphone and very sort of transparent, as you can hear. And yes, I hope you've enjoyed the review, and please stay tuned for more in the coming weeks.